These right here are two YouTubers named Daryl and Matt, who in May of 2024 uploaded a rather disturbing video titled Startling Discoveries at the Barn House to their channel Lost Places and Legends. Their channel primarily focuses on paranormal investigation, and they frequently document footage of them exploring various haunted locations across North America. In this particular video, Daryl and Matt decided to investigate a haunted barn house located somewhere in the United States. According to the explorers, the building was originally used as a barn and was later converted into a rental property. However, when the landlord rented the property, the tenants reported some very strange occurrences. During their month-long stay, they reported seeing furniture mysteriously moving on its own, hearing strange noises at night, along with experiencing several other bizarre encounters. The tenants ultimately left the house and never came back. Since then, the building has been completely abandoned for almost 8 years and has been actively linked with paranormal activity. Despite its dark history, the duo set out to explore the barn house and investigate the truth behind these claims. As Daryl and Matt began their investigation, they arrived at the property in the middle of the night. Once inside, they immediately mentioned that the house had a very eerie atmosphere and was unlike anything they had experienced before. During the initial minutes of their exploration, they noticed various pieces of furniture and personal belongings that had been left behind, suggesting that the previous tenants must have been extremely terrified by their experiences that they left without taking their possessions. The explorers for the next few minutes moved from one room to another, and it did appear as though they were completely alone inside, as they didn't hear or see anything unusual, nor did they find any signs that indicated that the house was haunted. However, just moments later, as they made their way into the kitchen, that's when they encountered something truly disturbing.
Well, don't that just look creepy as crap?
This whole thing's giving a creepy vibe.
A robot?
Who's leaving them? That's what about a, well, it's an older robot, but
I don't know, but I bet you that sucker was new, or cost a bunch when it was new.
$300 or $400 robot right there.
This is the kitchen. Man, there's all kinds of crap.
Yeah, there's stuff left on the shelves and stuff.
Oh, wow, look at it. There's something else back there. Another room, maybe? I don't know.
Could be another room. Could be anything. I'm just not digging the vibe in here, man.
It's got a heavy feel, that's for sure. I don't... Whoa!
Yay, 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 yay. Shit.
Hey, let's go back this way. I don't know what...
Let's back up this way. That was not cool at all.
I mean, are you trying to tell us to get out?
I'm coming back out here.
What was that, dude?
As soon as the explorers entered the kitchen, the door in front of them mysteriously fell and landed just a few feet away from them. The duo, startled by the commotion, initially froze and remained in their positions, but they eventually left the kitchen and went to a different part of the house. By this point, the explorers had no idea whether the door had fallen due to the way it was placed, or whether someone was hiding inside the kitchen and was somehow responsible for the door's movement. The duo, for the next few minutes, tried to make sense and rationalize what they had just witnessed, but they eventually decided to go back to the room to investigate.
There's rooms back there past that kitchen area.
Yeah, we gotta go back there.
We gotta look at.
I guess we need to go look, see what that was. Yeah, I'm just not too sure about this, man.
If that other one falls, I'm leaving.
That's kind of what I'm thinking.
I mean...
Here, hold my flag. Well, you can't. Here, let me...
Here, I got mine shining up there.
Man, I can't even pick it up. There we go. That was leaned up right here, wasn't it?
Yep, right in front of
Oh, dude, that's at an angle. Now, tell me how that fell forward. No.
I don't even get to see.
No, where's my light? I need my flashlight, dude.
It's right over there.
No. That ain't,
Yeah, it's...
Dude, that door is, I mean, if it was leaning straight up or standing straight up, I could understand it. That door is leaning backwards.
Yeah, and if you look,
and it fell
look
forward.
right there, because that's why it's kicked out. There's something back behind them, and it's kicked out and leaning up against the... Not
cool.
Not cool and not normal in any way.
If that door falls again, dude, I'm out.
After the explorers went inside the kitchen, they immediately lifted the door and put it back in its original position to see if it would fall again. However, they quickly realized the door couldn't have simply fallen forward, as it was leaning at an angle. When they searched the room behind the door, they once again found no one inside. By this point, the explorers were completely baffled, realizing that all their initial theories they had regarding the door were incorrect. As a result, the explorers decided to leave the kitchen and explore the rest of the house. During this time, they decided to set up a camera inside one of the rooms to capture anything they might otherwise overlook. However, as they were trying to set up the camera, that's when they encountered something once again.
All right, guys, we're gonna set up a static cam.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it in this room right here on this old school AV nice.
What was that?
What was that?
I don't know. I heard something in here.
In where?
I don't know. I don't know if it was up. I don't know. I heard something though.
Hold on, let me get my phone and start recording.
It sounded like a thud. Oh, hell no. No,
Look.
dude.
That door fell down again. Thought you was leaving. What are you doing? What are you still doing here?
Man, how in the heck is this door coming down?
There ain't nothing on that door.
There's no way for this freaking door to come down. By God, I know how to stop it from coming down.
Put a chair in front of it.
Let's see you do it now, buddy.
Easy.
Oh man, that's some spooky looking crap out back. Look at that.
Don't tempt them.
As soon as the explorers heard the loud bang, they immediately went towards the noise to investigate their source. When they reached the kitchen, the door that they had just lifted had fallen in the same manner. The explorers once again lifted the door, but this time placed a chair in front of it to see if it would fall again. By this point, the explorers had absolutely no idea why or how the door was falling repeatedly. The duo, with no other choice remaining, decided to conduct a test with their ghost hunting equipment and investigate if the door's movements were truly paranormal.
All right, folks, we're gonna see if we can't get some EVPs. We know we got some sort of activity. We don't know necessarily what, but we got something going on.
We've had a lot of activity so far.
If there's anyone here who would like to communicate with us,
What was that?
I don't know, but my camera stopped recording too. I don't even have a flashlight, dude.
I got a flashlight.
That's the little car that was up there, ain't it?
Yeah, that's the little car that was sitting right up there on the step, on top of the steps.
Huh.
That's on the second step now.
Well, we asked them to communicate with us, didn't we?
Looks like that.
And I'm guessing,
What are you looking at?
I'm pretty sure that robot's head was down.
You sure about that?
No, I'm really not. I'll have to look in post-production. But I could have swore I remember seeing a light or something on him. Keep your head down, dude.
Man, if that
Listen.
if that robot raised its head.
It's important to note that when the explorers initially approached the robot, its head was looking down. But just moments later, the robot's head had somehow been lifted up. To make matters even more disturbing, when the explorers heard the noise and went to investigate, the toy car was on top of the stairs. But again, when they initially approached the stairs, the toy car wasn't there. This detail confirms that the noises must have been caused by the car falling and landing on top of the stairs. But the explorers weren't entirely sure about any of these details at the time. They ultimately went back to the room where they were conducting their test. However, as soon as they got back to the room, that's when they encountered something that sent them running out of the building.
But that door is
The door's
blocked by a chair, so I ain't too worried about it
Yeah, it's
falling.
blocked by a chair, so I don't think it's gonna fall again.
All right, so let's go back to our EVP session here.
Did you hear that?
Yeah, that was me.
No. Did you hear that? Over in that area.
Mm-mm. There's something over there.
In the bath. That's the bathroom, right?
Yeah, that's...
No, it sounded like a tapping noise.
Well, there ain't nobody in here. Just the bathtub. Ain't nobody in here.
No, it actually sounded like a tapping noise. Like it's almost sound like this, but I don't know. So
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't either.
Holy, dude! I just felt that.
Yeah, that shook.
What in the? It better not be. It better not be.
It is, and it went the other way this time.
Dude, I ain't.
I'm not touching it. I'm not touching that door again, and I'm not going in that room.
I'm not going in there anymore. I'm
not
done.
going in that room. I'm done with the door.
To the explorers' absolute shock, the door that they had placed behind the chair had somehow fallen, but this time the door had landed backwards. The explorers, after yet another shocking encounter, had lost interest in investigating further and were consumed with fear and anxiety over everything they had been witnessing that night. But they didn't just end their investigation. Instead, they left their camera inside and went outside the house to take a break. However, as soon as they stepped out of the house, that's when their camera captured something extremely disturbing. It's evident that the chair mysteriously started moving on its own and then abruptly stopped. When the explorers went inside the house, they were startled to see that the chair had moved from its original position. They initially tried to remain calm and rationalize it as being caused by the wind or the poor condition of the chair itself. But they quickly dismissed these explanations, as there was no wind, nor did the chair move unless it was pushed. After yet another bizarre encounter, the explorers ultimately decided to leave the house and end their investigation. It's still unclear how the doors were mysteriously falling on their own, or how the chair had moved, along with the mystery behind whether the house was truly haunted. Ultimately, it's up to you to decide if what Daryl and Matt encountered that night was paranormal or simply an elaborate hoax.
Another robot.
Another robot?
Yeah, there's another robot sitting right there. He just looks kind of happy to be here.
Well, I'm telling you.
If you've enjoyed the video so far, it would mean a lot if you considered subscribing. Over 95% of you watching haven't subscribed yet. Your support really helps the channel grow, and in return, I promise to keep bringing you guys the best quality content. Now let's get back to the video. In June of 2021, a Canadian YouTuber named Brennan uploaded a video titled "Solo Overnight Camping in Canada's Largest Abandoned Mansion" to his channel, Uncharted Travels. Brennan's channel primarily focuses on urban exploration, and he often shares footage of his experiences exploring various abandoned locations throughout North America. In this particular video, Brennan decided to go on an overnight camping trip to an abandoned mansion known as the Peter Grand Mansion, situated in the northern part of Ontario, Canada. As Brennan began his exploration, he drove for 5 hours from his hometown to reach the abandoned mansion. He then parked his car on the dirt road and made his way towards the mansion. Once inside, Brennan immediately mentioned that the mansion was huge and was unlike anything he'd explored before. As Brennan explored further, he cautiously moved through the building, searching to see if anyone was living there. Fortunately for Brennan, he found no signs that indicated that anyone was currently inside. Brennan then continued with his exploration and decided to locate a suitable spot where he could set up his tent and spend the night. However, as Brennan was searching for a campsite, that's when he encountered something truly disturbing.
I'm surprised scrappers haven't come for this. I heard something down that hallway. Sounded like some sort of mouse or something. Hello? I keep hearing what sounds like pigeons coming from over here. But every time I try to locate the source of the noise, it stops. Let's see what's on top of these stairs here. It's a very narrow headspace. So it was a pigeon. I think there's a pigeon up there in the rafters somewhere.
After Brennan heard the noises, he initially suspected that an animal might be inside. He then immediately went towards the noise to investigate its source. During his investigation, he discovered the noises were indeed caused by a pigeon. Relieved that the noises were simply caused by the pigeon, Brennan decided to set up his tent on the top floor of the mansion. As night began to set in, Brennan decided to explore the building again and went down to the basement. However, as he was walking through the basement, that's when he made a shocking discovery.
You can see up to nowhere. I thought I heard something over here. Holy. I was looking at the camera and did not see that styrofoam there. Reach the bottom of this stairwell here. Look at this giant pool room. I don't know if this would have been like a furnace or what, but these are like industrial size. It's a refrigerant system, so this was AC, I think. It is noticeably colder down here too, which you expect from a basement. What's back here? I wonder, is this a whole nother section of the house? It sounds like there's someone walking upstairs, but I'm not sure.
After Brennan heard footsteps coming from the upper levels, he immediately turned around and tried to determine their source. But he didn't think too much about the noises and ultimately dismissed them as pigeons or some other animal walking around the building. Brennan then explored the basement for the next 10 minutes, and he fortunately didn't hear the noises during that time. He eventually decided to go back to his tent and call it a night. However, as soon as he reached the top floor, that's when he encountered something far worse than an animal walking around the building.
Found the stairwell down, but it sounds like there's something down there. There's definitely something shuffling down there. I just hope it's an animal. There's definitely something down there. Which way do I go? Oh, it keeps going down. And that's where the noise is coming from. I've heard lots of noises coming from this lower level. I'm just gonna take it slow and listen. You can hear something banging around down here. I hope it's just like wind or water or something. But now we're going to investigate the source of many of the concerning sounds I heard.
After hearing a loud bang coming from the basement, Brennan cautiously went towards the noise to investigate its source. But despite searching everywhere, he unfortunately found nothing that could have caused those noises. By this point, Brennan had no idea whether the noise was simply caused by an animal or whether someone was actually inside the building with him. Brennan ultimately concluded that the best thing he could do now was to return to his tent and get some sleep, regardless of any potential presence. However, as he was trying to fall asleep, that's when things started to take a turn for the worse for Brennan.
It's now around 3 a.m. The pigeons had a little battle about maybe 15 minutes ago that kind of woke me up, because that kind of startled me. But good night, guys. I swear to God, it sounded like people talking. It sounded like they were like whispering or something outside my tent. Or maybe like on the stairwell below me. But I didn't hear them moving around at all, which kind of trips me out. Okay, I gotta check this out. It sounds like there's someone walking around out here. from down below. My twisted T-can half tilted. So if somebody comes through that opening, it should fall and alert me. Here's what I'm hoping. Now I have my bases covered and I can get some sleep.
To Brennan's absolute shock, he was suddenly awakened by a group of people shouting and yelling from the floor below him. Brennan later mentioned that the individuals were shouting all throughout the night, but the noises eventually stopped, and Brennan ultimately decided to get some sleep. Fortunately for Brennan, the group neither found him nor did they pose any threats. When Brennan woke up, the group had already left, and he managed to leave the mansion early in the morning without any harm. It remains a mystery who the individuals were, or why they were inside the mansion so late at night, along with what their true intentions were. But regardless of their identity or motive, it's still a good thing that the individuals weren't hostile or aggressive towards Brennan, as encounters of this nature often result in explorers being harassed or even attacked by people with sinister intentions. In October of 2024, a YouTuber named Jared Coker uploaded a chilling video titled "Exploring Scary Abandoned Nursing Home" to his channel Jared Coker Urbex. His channel is dedicated to urban exploration, and he frequently documents footage of him exploring various abandoned locations throughout the United States. In this particular video, Jared decided to explore an abandoned nursing home situated in Cincinnati, Ohio. As Jared began his exploration and stepped inside the building, he immediately mentioned that the structures inside were in a very rough state. This indicated that the building had been abandoned and neglected for a significant amount of time. The first few minutes of his exploration revealed nothing unusual, as the only things he discovered were creepy graffiti and writings written throughout the building. Everything up to this point seemed to be going pretty smoothly for Jared, and it did appear as though he was completely alone inside, as he didn't hear or see anything that indicated that anyone was inside the building. However, approximately 5 minutes into his exploration, as Jared was walking through the hallway, that's when he encountered something truly disturbing.
What this building was definitely a nursing home at some point, but I believe the last building that actually used it was a church. Oh my God. That whole intro I did, just a foot away from a syringe. I'm glad I didn't kneel down on that. I am interested to see if that one wing I said may have housed a church for a little bit. I'm interested in seeing if that's true. Okay, that's animals. So squeaky whistle noises. It's got cool little fireplaces. That sounded like that was in here. I had to have caught that on camera. I'm gonna go not that way.
After Jared heard the noises, he immediately turned off his flashlight and listened intently to determine their source. But unlike other urban explorers, he didn't go toward the noise to investigate. Instead, he started walking in the opposite direction. This decision was primarily fueled by the fact that Jared had initially found a syringe on the floor, and just moments later he was hearing the noises. This detail indicated the possible presence of a squatter or a homeless individual within the building. Realizing the potential danger that he was in, Jared wisely chose to avoid investigating the noise and turned his attention to exploring a different part of the building. During his exploration, Jared found even more signs suggesting that someone was inside. Fortunately for Jared, he didn't hear or see anything unusual during this time. However, just moments later, as Jared was walking through one of the rooms, that's when he encountered something once again.
But just off of Google Maps Street Views, I could tell that at one point before it was fully abandoned, there was a sign out front with the name of a church. Meanwhile, the old nursing home's name was still on the other portion of the building, which made me think, Dude, I'm still hearing stuff, and I'm freaked out. Was it footsteps or road noise? And do those halls connect over there? Because if these halls connect, then I'm already headed back towards the danger area. Dude, I can't tell if that's just outside noise or if there's weird rumbling in here.
After Jared heard the sound of footsteps, he listened intently and tried to determine their source. During this time, he also heard loud bangs coming from one of the rooms, confirming that someone or something was definitely inside the building. However, Jared wasn't entirely sure if the noises were originating from the building or not. By this point, Jared had absolutely no idea whether someone was inside, or if the noises were simply caused by wind or an animal. As a result, Jared spent the next few minutes contemplating whether he should stay or leave the building. But he eventually built up his courage and decided to explore the remaining parts of the building, regardless of who might be inside.
I really don't like the looks of this. Does that not look like some sort of weird tripwire thing? And then the weird little toilet thingy just right here facing that way. Whatever noise I heard would have been coming from this direction. This almost looks like a dead end. See a basement. See, I keep hearing things behind me over there. This old camera. Okay. I've reached some sort of dead end, which means basement time, I guess. Dude, what is causing that? Is it the boards? Dude, I hate this one.
After hearing the noises for the third time, Jared finally decided to investigate the noise and went towards its source. But despite searching everywhere, he unfortunately found nothing that could have caused those noises. Jared eventually ended his exploration and left the building. It's still a mystery what the true source of the noises were, as well as whether what Jared encountered that night was paranormal. However, based on everything he witnessed during his visit, it's more likely that the noises were caused by a squatter or a homeless individual living inside the building. The individual probably didn't want anyone inside, and in an attempt to scare Jared off, the individual made those loud bangs and noises. Fortunately for Jared, he wisely chose to end his exploration before things escalated, and he managed to escape the potentially dangerous situation without any harm.